Yoshi! I always used to play Yoshi in the spin-off games until I became a Wario Chad. I like Yoshi a lot. I even played a bunch of his games growing up, like Yoshi's Cookie, Yoshi's Story, and Yoshi's Topsy-Turvy. Maybe I'll even go over that one day.
Hell no!
There are a lot of Yoshi games out there, but I've never played the first mainline Mario game that features Yoshi as the main character. But why? Yeah, I have no idea. I can only think of a few reasons as why I might have not wanted to. The first Yoshi game I played was Yoshi's Story, being the most similar game as well, both being platformers featuring Yoshi. I enjoyed Yoshi's Story, and I still do. I think it's a great game, but controlling Yoshi in that game felt a bit slippery and not as good as I would expect from a Nintendo game. Even as a kid I thought this. So maybe my stupid idiot brain thought, this is the newer one. Surely the one before this is bad.
And here's an x-ray of my head.
Mario World is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. It was the first video game that I've ever played that got me into this hobby. But Yoshi's Island completely blows this one out of the water. It's not even a joke. Both games are amazing, but holy smokes, I cannot explain enough how good of a game this is. I had a fantastic time with this one, but I will try my best, as today we're going to be looking at Yoshi's Island to see if it was worth it.
Were you not listening?
I would like to talk about the art style real quick. This is probably one of the best looking Super Nintendo games out there. It has a beautiful storybook art style with its thick black lines and crayon styled coloring. This looks fantastic. The sprites themselves in this game also look really good and have such good animations to them. Yoshi himself in particular is very well animated, to the way he moves, to how he eats enemies, to how he pushes boulders. Overall amazing, and the enemies are like this too. In fact, these enemies might be some of the best looking they have looked in a Mario series. It's really up there. I really like how these guys look. I really like the look of this enemy in particular for some reason. I don't know why. I just think he's neat. But I don't think he's ever used in a Mario game again though. Why? Every single area in this game looks completely different as well. There's just so much style oozing from this game. What you see won't be the same every time. Here are 4 screenshots from the game. Looks completely different in all of them. The art style also mixes very well with the incredible music this game has to offer. Now, this game actually doesn't have a lot of music in it, I think. In memory, there might have been like 6 or 7 tracks in the game for the levels themselves, which isn't really that much. So you would think this would be a negative, but they are just so good and iconic. You can listen to them so many times and they never get old. They are just so iconic that you might have already heard of them before without even having played the game. Take a listen to this one. Just this one track alone shows this game's score is going to be one of a kind, and it just all fits the art style so well. Together, it makes it a great game. But it's not those things that make a great game alone. Gameplay will always be king. So how is the gameplay? As I previously mentioned, I said I believed one of the reasons I may have not played this game was because I thought it would control worse coming from Yoshi's Story.
Where did it go?
This game controls just so much better than Yoshi's Story. Yoshi is not slow at all. He doesn't feel weighty. He doesn't feel slippery to control. He feels extremely lightweight and very tight to control. When I was first able to control Yoshi in this game, I was actually shocked at how well and how fast he ran around. I can't underestimate this. He is fast. Yoshi's pretty simple to control though. You can move around really fast. There's no run button. You're also able to jump, and if you hold the jump button down, you can actually hover and hover around. This actually increases Yoshi's max height by a tiny bit before he falls down again. This lets you reach areas that are a little too high for Yoshi's normal jump, as well as giving you a safeguard and allows you to hover down just in case you miss a jump or something. The only aspect that didn't really work out for me when I was controlling Yoshi was his ground pound. When you jump and push down, he does a ground pound. This lets you crush enemies or crush pillars. For some reason, it just refused to come out sometimes. I would jump, I would push down, and then nothing would happen. I'm not sure why this happened, but again, that's really it. It's not really a game breaker. Yoshi can also pretty much eat almost every single enemy in this game, but not all of them. When Yoshi eats an enemy, he can spit them back out or swallow them.
And I know how to swallow.
When Yoshi swallows them, they sometimes turn into an egg. You can then throw your eggs, which makes a reticle appear above you, which moves up and down on its own. I was going to complain about the reticle moving up and down on its own, but I think I actually like it. It might be hard to get used to at first, but it allows you to be on the move without having to slow down and aim your shots manually. This keeps the gameplay fast-paced, which I like. And honestly, you get used to it after a while that you can kind of pretty much not miss at all. However, this game does something great. Throughout the entire game, you get these tutorial boxes that give you hints about the game and how to control Yoshi. There are a lot of these, and you even see some of them in the very last world. But what one of the hint boxes tells you is that you can hold up to have the reticle always be aiming up above you. This allows you to pretty much accurately aim at anything above you, and there's a lot of stuff that's going to be above you. So this is great to just manually aim if you need to. But this isn't just great because it tells you how to throw eggs better. It's great because it teaches you how to play Yoshi throughout the game. And at the very start of the game, you have Yoshi's entire kit unlocked. Meaning while you think you may know how to play him and everything about Yoshi, you might learn something new near the end. This allows for amazing repeat playthroughs because the stuff you learn about Yoshi most of the time isn't required. So you can end up learning a brand new trick near the end of the game and then use that trick when you repeat the game, which is awesome. Hell, I even bought a physical copy of the game just to replay it later because of how much fun I had with this game. And I just love supporting the retro gaming market, which now has the same issue as the Pokemon trading card game, where it has been taken over by investors buying the games for cheap, doing nothing with them for years, and then selling them off at a higher margin, while collectors who play the game, or people who want to play the game on the original hardware, have their hobby ruined so some people can make a quick buck because someone decided to hoard a game they will never be playing. There is one very divisive thing about Yoshi that I see a lot of people argue about over the internet, and for a lot of people, it can make or break the game for them. And that would be this goddamn baby. You can't actually die at all from being hit in this game. There are a couple things that instantly kill you, but it's really not that much. Most of the things in this game cannot kill you. Instead, when you get hit by something, Baby Mario jumps off. Once you lose Baby Mario, you're now on a time limit to get him back, because if you run out of time, you lose. I don't actually have any footage of this because I actually was never able to get Baby Mario to run out of time because, I don't know, I'm a god gamer. But I still did die several times due to the pressure of losing Baby Mario brings to you. When Baby Mario leaves you, he starts crying, and the crying volume is significantly louder than the rest of the game. All while this really loud, obnoxious sound is hitting you, the timer is slowly going down. This puts a lot of pressure on you, the player, to rescue him. And while you're trying to rescue him, the enemies and the stage is trying to kill you. This can easily lead to several deaths like it did for me. A lot of people don't like this. They don't like the pressure being put on them. They don't like the sound of Baby Mario whining, which I can kind of understand that's fair. But overall, I think it adds a lot of pressure to the game, and it's honestly a fun kind of annoyance, which you really don't see that often in games. I think overall, I like this. I am on the winning side of the argument. To summarize, every single level in this game you will be seeing will have something new every single time, while not detracting from the core gameplay itself, even the levels I didn't even like. I'm going to be going into the game a bit further by talking about the levels that stood out to me, both the ones I liked and the ones I didn't like, from the start of the game to the end of the game. So let's begin. The game starts and you get shown this title screen of the map spinning around, and I absolutely love the 3D effect here. It is very atmospheric as well. The sounds of the wind and the waves crashing on the beach, and then the music slowly creeping in. This really sets the tone of the game. This is also the map screen that is used every time you beat a world, where Yoshi walks to the next area after blowing up a castle. We start the game and get a cutscene of a stork carrying a pair of twins, Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. A shadow appears from the clouds and snatches one of the babies, while the other baby falls and lands directly on a Yoshi. This Yoshi looks traumatized. Yoshi then calls the other Yoshis together, and they decide to bring Baby Mario to his destination, as Baby Mario knows where he has to go. So off we go. If you couldn't tell, this is a prequel, and I just love this. It fleshes out the Mario characters so much more than it ever has. I've always liked the stories in Mario games, because they're always short enough to enjoy and not too long to be annoying. They're just the right amount. You then just get immediately dropped into a level, which is pretty much a tutorial, but it doesn't actually tell you that much. This is a tutorial in the sense it's more like a playground, where you get to test out how Yoshi controls and figure out everything on your own, which I think is perfect. You can explore all the mechanics at your own pace, and there really isn't much danger here. And you can also just end the level quickly in maybe like 15 seconds. It's really not that long. After we beat this level, we get shown the level select, which I again think is very charming. You have your theme of the world drawn out in a color book style, and it's showing you what kind of themes you can expect from the levels. World 1, grasslands. Expect to see a lot of grass. World 5, well, that's obviously snow, so expect to see a lot of snow. World 6, hell. At the top of the screen, you can choose the level, and each level has a charming picture to go with it as well. Level 1, again, is more of a tutorial, but things can actually harm you here. If you make a mistake, you can get punished. This level's tutorial isn't really teaching you about Yoshi, it's more so teaching you about how you can interact with the world in the level. Like how you can interact with these boulders here, being able to push them. Or how you can find these invisible question clouds, which give you secrets. The goal of each level is obviously just to get to the end. However, to unlock more levels in the game, you need to get above 90 points in each level. And you do this by collecting stars, red coins, and flowers, where flowers give the most points. There are 5 flowers in each stage and affect the end goalpost, which is a spinning circle. For every single flower you get, it adds a flower to the spinner, and if it lands on a flower, you get a bonus game. These bonus games let you bet lives, just straight up get more lives, or gives you items to use in the levels. These can range from roulette wheels to slot machines to scratch and wins. Wow, he really loves gambling.
And so do I.
Overall, level 1 is it's a tutorial level. It sets out what it wants to do and it does it well. But with that out of the way, let's get into the levels in the world that stood out to me. Level 2, for instance, it has chain chomps flying at you from the background, which I think is a really cool effect to have. I know some Super Nintendo games may have had this effect, but I don't think that many did. And it's terrifying figuring out where they're going to chomp down. It brings a level of stress to the game, but it's a good kind of stress. I enjoyed this a lot. Later in this level, you get transformations. This allows Yoshi to turn into a helicopter. You can fly around anywhere extremely quickly, and that's about all you can do with this one. It's a fun change of pace, and there are other transformations in the game as well. You can turn into a submarine to more easily explore the water, or you can maybe even turn into a mole to dig through dirt. The only one I really didn't like was the mole. It just feels so unresponsive to control, and it feels like the mole just goes in any direction it wants to go in. I push up and it goes to the left. Why does it do this? Anyway, I like this level a lot, but I think I've been too positive. So let's talk about a level I didn't like. Maybe. I think? Level 7. It's pretty much a smooth path to the end. It's pretty much a straight line with a couple of bumps. The only problem with this level is there are these white things that make Yoshi high. He is drugged out of his mind. Why is Nintendo supporting drug use? What is this? Just look at them. These are very hard to avoid, and you are probably going to get hit by one of these because there's just so many flying at you on the screen. And when that happens, your screen warps and turns into different colors, and Yoshi starts walking around on his own wherever he feels like. This is obviously extremely annoying and can make some people sick just looking at it. However, like I said, this level was actually made with this in mind, and to be honest, it's mostly just a straight line. There are levels later on with this mechanic that are way worse than this, but for this one, it's not really too bad. It's just kind of annoying at best. Each world has 2 castles in them, and every single boss in this one is unique. Like you'll have the bosses where you fight on a planet that rotates, which I think is really awesome for the time, or one where you have to slowly throw eggs into its heart as it slowly tries to push you off the map. Every single boss in this game is unique, and it has you do something different every single time, which is one of my favorite things about this game. Most mainline Nintendo platformers up to this point, Mario World, Mario Bros. 3, they all had kind of the same bosses at times, but this one has different bosses every single time. It even beats out modern games like Mario Wonder. Like, what are you doing? However, those are only the bosses of the castle. You actually have to do a level in the castle before you actually reach the boss. And unfortunately, I hated every single castle.
Well, that's just rude.
Okay, that's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but I am a firm believer that platforming levels should not take up too much time of the player. From the start of the level to the end of the level, the player should never feel like they've spent too much time in a level. But these castle levels are always some of the biggest in the game and always take the longest to complete. But not only are they big, they can also be very maze-like at times and have you go all over the place just to find maybe one key needed to progress. Though this could just be a me thing, because I can absolutely see people enjoying the more explorative aspects of these levels themselves. Though for me, it felt more annoying to play rather than fun to play with them. But like I said before, my initial reaction was more of an over-exaggeration. If I replayed these levels, I'll be happy to replay them. I would just kind of be more like, well, this is just kind of eh. But like I said before, after you beat a castle, you get rewarded by fighting an extremely fun boss. Let's move on to the levels that stood out for me in World 2. The first one stands out to me for only one reason, one very important reason. The Koopas are perfect. Like, look at them in Mario World. What the hell is that? These are some of the best sprites for Koopas I have ever seen, and it's also an introduction level to them, where when you spit them out, you actually spit out the shell, so they go flying. You also get to see Cape Mario here, where you get a star, he dons a cape, and you can play as him. He's pretty much invincible and can run on walls and spikes and also float for a short while. It's a pretty fun addition. It adds more variety to the game. Moving on to level 2-7, this level has one of the most prettiest skyboxes I have ever seen in a game. It's just so pretty to look at. I like looking at it. And even better, the level itself is also very fun to play. It's about the Lakitus hiding in the walls and throwing spinies at you. And there's a lot of them, so you need to be constantly on the lookout for these spikes to avoid. I didn't really hate any level in this world, well, other than the castles, of course. Moving on to World 3, it had two levels that stood out for me. The first one, because of the monkeys. I love the look of these guys. They have that subtle look like they're gonna annoy you, and that's absolutely what they do. They look like they're up to no good. They do a bunch of annoying stuff like throw bombs at you and sometimes just run up and steal Baby Mario from you. They're a rare kind of annoying that is fun, which is what I think this game excels at. It has a lot of mechanics that would be considered annoying, but they're actually really fun. However, my enjoyment died for a bit when I hit level 3-6. This level is pretty big and it feels like a maze. So you walk into the entrance and you go to the end of the level and you see a locked door, so you need to find a key. So where is this key? You're not gonna believe this. You go all the way back to outside the entrance of the cave again at the very start of the level, jump onto this tree to get to a hidden entrance above the main entrance. This has the key in there. Why did they do this? Most people are going to go through the main entrance first, which means they're going to go through the entire level, which is kind of a maze by the way, and then have to go all the way back. And like I did, they won't go all the way back first. They'll try and explore the cave to see if they can find a key, but it's not in here. So it's just a massive waste of time.
I couldn't find the key to my house today, but then I found it. It was actually up my ass.
World 4's first level is kind of strange. I like it. It's a fun level, but it's called Go Go Mario. You would think you'd be playing as Mario for most of this level, but you only really play as him in the end. I mean, it's fun to play as Mario always, but why is it called that when you only play as him at the end? Most of this level you're as Yoshi. This level also has some really good looking Goombas. Again, compared to Mario World, what is that? I give these Goombas a pass. But this is the only level they are in. Why? This world also has another level I like, and it's actually a castle. You get chased down by a chain chomp at the start, which is very nerve-wracking but a lot of fun. And then you go into the castle. You get dropped down and get to go in 4 different directions. Each direction has a platforming challenge you need to complete to get a key. And once you get all 4 keys, you can fight the boss. I really like this. It lets you take any of the challenges in any order you want. World 5. Oh man, World 5. I don't even know where to start with this one. Every single level, minus the castles, has something new and exciting and are just overall amazing levels. I mean, I've enjoyed every single level I mentioned before, but these ones are on another level for me. Level 1 introduces the snow you're going to be seeing in this world, while introducing a new enemy I don't think is in any other Mario game.
Why do they keep doing that?
The Thunder Lakitu. Though by his design, looks like a lightning god Lakitu. He looks great. He just shoots lightning bolts at you if it wasn't obvious. Level 2 has you ride around on these ski lifts while avoiding enemies, which tests your platforming skills. It tests your precision while also testing your aim with the eggs, because you're going to have to shoot things as you're on the lift so you don't get knocked off and die. Level 3 has this goddamn ski section, which I suck at, but was still kind of fun. Level 5 has a bunch of different Goonies. What a name, by the way, which you just need to avoid throughout the level as they're flying at you. And I just love these goofy guys, and this level was just a lot of fun. Level 6 is an auto-scroll level. Why would I like this? Well, it's awesome. It takes you into the clouds and you have to avoid these guys throwing baseballs at you, which would knock you off the map. And you have to avoid them for a set amount of time because the level is an auto-scroll level. You also have to start using the enemy's own attack against other enemies and obstacles in your way. This is amazing. This is one of the very few good auto-scroll levels in games. I don't even think it's that long anyway. It definitely didn't feel like it. Level 7 is the challenge level. Moving platforms everywhere, time jumps everywhere. This level is a test of your skills, and it's very fair in doing that. This is definitely my favorite world. Now for World 6,
I hate this game.
that's not true. But there are a lot of notable levels in this last world that I personally just don't really like. Level 3 brings back these goddamn drugs, but it's worse this time because there are instant death pits everywhere. You can't do that when Yoshi's moving on its own. Why would you do that? I know I already said I don't like most of the castles in this, but I want to talk about this one. Near the end, you get put into a room with multiple floors and pipes on the end, and you need to find the key in them. This is the perfect example of why I don't really like a lot of these castles. They feel like they're wasting the player's time rather than being fun to explore. The key is in one of these pipes at the end, and you have to find out which one has it. Most of these have nothing in them, or if you're lucky, they'll have a star or a red coin or maybe even a flower in them to increase your score. But you need to have eggs to get most of them, so you have to constantly resupply on eggs a lot, because a room could take up your entire supply of eggs. But I finally find the room with the big enemy that always drops a key. But when I find him, I don't have enough eggs, so I need to leave the room, come back, and finally beat him. This was only after I explored every single pipe beforehand. Why were there so many pipes I needed to go in? A lot of it just felt pointless. It wasn't that fun to do. Level 5 is not a good scroll level. Most of the scroll levels in this game are just kind of eh. There was the one I really liked before, but this one is bad. It scrolls so slowly for so long, and then at the end it just zooms by, but it only does that for maybe like 10 seconds? Most of this level is just really boring. Level 7 is a good level.
What?
This level stood out to me because it's again a test of your platforming skills, a lot of time jumps and all that jazz. But it is also more than that. This level is to show you the scale of the final big castle, because this level is the second last level of the game. This is you scaling the entrance of the castle. We're not even in it yet. I think it is a very good set piece. At the start, you're running away from chain chomps, and then after that, you're using moving platforms to slowly scale your way up the very tight precision jumps up the castle. It's honestly a very fun level. The last level in the game is pretty short, but once you get past it, it turns into a slow auto-scroller where you finally get a showdown against Kamek. If I didn't mention this already, I really should have by now, you see Kamek throughout the game. Every time you fight a boss, he is there taunting you. He pretty much just casts a spell on all the bosses you fight and just makes them bigger. You can't really fight him here, because when you walk up to him or throw an egg at him, he just teleports away. The goal here is just to survive to get to the end as he casts magic. The magic, if you get hit by it, deals damage to you, which obviously just knocks Baby Mario off, or if he hits a block, it'll transform the block into an enemy. This part felt a little too long, but it really wasn't that bad. Once you get to the end, you realize Kamek was doing all of this for Baby Bowser, who is, well, he's obviously a baby. Bowser is upset at the noise and crushes Kamek and then kicks him off the side of the screen. I really find that funny. He then fights you because he just wants to ride Yoshi, which he actually does if you let him touch you, which is pretty charming. He has a big ol' smirk on his face when he does it too. The fight is pretty simple though. You just ground pound the ground, which causes a shockwave, and the shockwave needs to hit him. Do this 3 times and he's down. But wait, we're not done yet. After that, Kamek casts his growing spell on him. The castle starts collapsing and it shows up bigger Bowser in the distance, and the music starts to rise. This is probably one of the best set pieces for a Mario game's final boss. And this is a goddamn Yoshi game. But in my opinion, it's really only a good set piece. Everything about this is cool. You have to throw eggs at him as he slowly approaches. But throwing these eggs suck ass. I can't tell if I'm bad, but I don't think it is. It feels like it's random where these eggs will go sometimes. I swear I aimed it at similar spots several times, but it felt like sometimes the egg would just barely hit him, maybe it would actually hit him, or maybe it would just fly to the moon. Why does it do that? This is probably the hardest part of this game for this reason. I die here a couple times, but after a bit, he finally goes down. Bowser and Kamek both flee, and we rescue both the stork and baby Luigi. We then get credits with a cutscene of the stork carrying out his mission to deliver the babies to their new parents. I've never actually seen this before, so me realizing Mario and Luigi have a mother and father was insane to me.
Are you stupid?
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously they're gonna have parents, but showing them more so is what shocked me. I mean, all they really show is their lower half and their hands, but that's about it. I just wonder who they are. But that is the entire game. I'm not gonna lie, this game is very easy. I didn't really have that much trouble in it. but that doesn't really matter. This game itself was amazing. You constantly see new things every time, along with Yoshi being incredibly amazing to control, having a fantastic art style, and having a fantastic soundtrack. This is probably one of the best Super Nintendo games, and even one of the best platformers, and maybe one of the best games I have ever played in recent times of all time. I feel so stupid for not playing this. Like, what was wrong with me? Maybe I'll play the sequel on 3DS. That should be a lot of fun. You know, maybe not.